Hello and welcome to another video for the yearbook. Today we are going to be talking about Harpy, Caldari Assault Frigate. Now, if you want a one-liner for this ship, when it's really just a fleet ship, it's not a ship for solo PvP, it's like a Punisher. So when you use Punishers in fleets with appropriate support, it is the best Tick 1 frigate in this role. But for solo it's just not very good. And Harpy is the same. For fleets it's excellent. It has bonuses that synergize really well when you support this ship with logistics, with ships that can provide control. But for solo PvP these bonuses just don't really work that well. And if you look at the numbers, when I think they are pretty accurate to what I feel about this ship as well. So it is one of the least popular assault frigates. The only ship that is lower is Nergal, but it's a bit of a different story. And in terms of win rates, it's also the worst assault frigate in the game, the solo PvP at the moment. And it's even a bit lower than Navy Comet, which is quite ironic, considering that Navy Comet is probably one tier below the Harpy and it occupies the same role. So what's the problem with Harpy for solo PvP? Again, as a one-liner, it is a brawler without damage. So if you compare Harpy and Enya, both close-range blaster brawlers, Enya gets double bonus to damage and a single bonus to optimal range, and Harpy gets double bonus to optimal range and a single bonus to damage. So with a single bonus to damage, the blaster DPS just isn't great at a very close range. And even though you get double optimal range bonus, your DPS at scrum range again just isn't good, because blasters are not weapons that you can use for scrum kiting, even with double optimal range bonus. And rail fees just don't work because of slot layout and power grid and CPU restrictions. So Harpy, the only thing that Harpy can do in solo PvP is brawl. In fleets, it's an excellent sniping platform. It's like a sniping cormorant, but much better. But you can't do that in solo. It's just not the role for solo PvP. So, and this is why it doesn't really perform that well. The tank is quite competitive, but damage and control are subpar for the assault frigates. I think the only reason why I keep it in the balanced category is Tech 2 Caldari resists, thermal and kinetic. And thanks to these resists, Harpy kinda naturally counters a lot of popular feats in faction warfare, a lot of popular ships, like Navy Catalyst, Comet, Hookbill, and many others that shoot either thermal kinetic or which are soft kinetic locked. Performance of Harpy, I would say, is a bit below average. Against Navy destroyers, it's competitive against ships that shoot in the Tech 2 resists. So against Navy Catalyst and Navy Cormorant, it's pretty good. But against Navy Thrasher and Navy Courser, Harpy is not that great. Against Navy frigates, the biggest problem is the lack of control. Navy frigates almost always can simply escape, even if they cannot match the tank and DPS at scrum range. And in addition, if a Navy frigate has tracking disruptor, when it gets really hard for Harpy, because against Tracking Disruptor, Harpy cannot really project any meaningful damage to the scrum range. And finally, against assault frigates, Harpy, I feel like well below average. Many assault frigates have good resists against thermal and kinetic, or at least thermal or kinetic. So you're never really shooting in the resist hole of assault frigate, and Harpy is always really on a timer, because your tank will always be medium shield extender, so just limited buffer. And many other assault frigates, they can permatank. And in these situations, you either immediately break the active tank of your opponent, or you're just going to lose. And usually Harpy is at disadvantage in these matchups. There are a couple of matchups that are more engageable than others, but in general, Harpy is just not good at mirrors against our assault frigates. And there is quite literally just a single feasible fit for Harpy. This is the one that you see on screen. So you have 4 blasters and rocket launcher with just a little bit additional damage in high slots, micro warp drive, scrum web, and medium shield extender in medium slots, and then ADC and max stop in low slots. For Harpy, fits really work only with medium shield extender, so there are no tricks with medium ancillary shield booster. If the feed just doesn't work in terms of available power grid and CPU. And the strategy is pretty simple. Ideally, you would like to fight in position, when you just hug your opponent and try to brawl him. So you get 13,000 hit points, which looks pretty good, plus ADC. If you are like 100% sure that you are going to fight against a ship that will stay in scrum range, when you can drop the macro warp drive and replace it with an afterburner, and the fit is essentially the same. You can just upgrade the scrum for a little bit better control, but everything else is the same. And I also want to compare the DPS on Harpy and DPS on Enya, just to illustrate the point that I made earlier. So as you can see in this feat, Harpy gets about 320 DPS without any boosters or hit, and the same feat on Enya, same 1 DPS module, and same modules in high slots, and you get 450. So this is almost like plus 40% DPS on ships that operate in very similar roles. And this is why, if people just want to brawl, they will just pick Enya, because in the majority of situations you don't really prioritize your tank. In a brawling ship, you prioritize control and DPS. You need to be within the optimal range to apply the damage and kind of overwhelm your opponent. The brawling just doesn't really work as a style where you try to outlast your opponent. In brawling, you want to overwhelm your opponent with DPS. And this is like a fundamental problem with Harpy. Bonuses just do not align with style that you can use in this ship. But overall, it's not that bad. It's not that expensive. You'll only pay like 60 million. Surely there are better ships among assault frigates, but if you want, it's not awful. I did not put it even in the underpowered category. You can still get some pretty reasonable kills. It's not, it cannot really be hard countered that easily, so you can have a pretty wide engagement profile. So it's usable, it's just not the best. Okay, I hope you found it useful, and I will see you in the next videos.